It is time for my favorite video of the week because I love giving my first impression because I like to, it shocks me sometimes what I get to see out of DK. Now, full transparency, I do know one price on this slate that's mispriced. It was so mispriced that my messages were blowing up last night when the slate dropped. But I've managed to avoid seeing everything else. So we will start off with this Arkansas Memphis game. The best total on the slate, one of the best game environments on the slate, a game that we are going to target heavily after I've ripped through Taylor Green. I still am not looking at Taylor Green's price because I don't want to spoil it for myself. Arkansas, Memphis, 63.5 over under, 35 points projected for Arkansas, 28.5 for Memphis. Taylor Green's 8,400. That is a fair price. Very fair. Easy to fit that in, I'm sure. He was just an absolute monster last week against Ole Miss with 39, almost 40. These prices are 8,400. He should realistically be in the nines because of what he's done so far this season. I think he's well in play in this environment. Brendan Lewis, that seems like a little bit hefty to pay. He's got a little rushing upside. The passing upside, not nearly there. 7,700. I'd rather find the 700 to go get Talon, but a 28.5 point team total, very welcoming. Running back wise, this is going to be interesting because I don't know if DeRozier's plays. He's been out last week. He's very talented. It's just a question of if he's healthy enough to play against Arkansas. Arkansas, very gettable on the ground. They have the capability. Sutton Smith would end up being their top option if DeRozier's is out. It's going to be something that's going to need to be monitored. I would very much so like Sutton Smith after DeRozier's missed the last two games. I would like Sutton Smith in this spot. 6,600 fair price for him. Mike Washington is a clear top back here. 6,900. He's probably in the pool, but we'll have to wait and see there. Wide receiver wise, Omega Blake at 62. That is pricing him up. He was very affordable last week. Well, he was 58, but he's still in the pool. 62, not a bad price on him. He's been definitely the number one option for Taylor Green. He's the top stack partner, no doubt about it. There was a couple instances where Taylor missed him for touchdowns last week. We'll have to look into these Memphis guys. I would bank on Bram Cortez here. He came over with Brendan Lewis from Nevada, and he played well with him last year. So I wonder, I haven't gotten to look very deep into what their rotations are yet this year. So I need to kind of see where Memphis is with the passing offense. It looks like he's probably the top points guy for them. He would be my pick currently, but somebody in this offense is going to be worth it at these cheap prices. I would currently lean towards Cortez here, but we'll see. I'm excited for this kid, by the way. Looking forward. If you saw my Memphis preview, AJ Hill, he's going to be a very good player for this Memphis team going forward. But right now, this is Brendan Lewis show. Another great game environment. Good morning, JB. It's not a grind, brother. It's just fun. It's just blast for me. I'm doing this, I'd be sitting here having this conversation with myself. Second best game. Look we lead off with two great game environments. SMU, TCU, 62.5, almost 35, 28 again. These are going to be two game environments you're going to want lots of pieces of. They could be game stacks. They could be stacks for each, whatever. 8,200 for Hoover. Not a bad price. Don't mind that. His mobility, he's not a mobile guy, but he's going to be able to throw for 300 in this game. Remember what Sawyer Robertson did. It's just going to be slightly different in the fact that SMU can stop the run and TCU doesn't have a run game. So I think everything rests on the shoulder of Josh Hoover. I'm going to have a lot of Josh Hoover doubles, more than likely. Kevin Jennings, I don't know what the pricing is yet, but I'm hoping I can buy Eric McAllister because everybody hated him last week. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Jennings, I was worried he got hurt last week, but he didn't. He played. He's just tending to an ankle injury. So Jennings may be in play. I probably would tend to lean towards Hoover in this matchup and Taylor Green over Jennings, but I'm apparently a noted SMU hater. So TJ Harden, I'm going to love in this game. I think he will be a great option. He's the clear lead back. He's not priced like it. 5,500, way too cheap. I will be locking in a lot of TJ Harden. He's definitely the top option at this point, given the 19 and 15 carries each of the last 2 weeks. He has pass catching upside. He's a good pass catcher, just kind of underrated for that role. I think 100 yards is in the cards this week. Not a McFall guy. I hate the TCU run game, so I'm staying away there. I know Kavorian Barnes is decent, but I'd prefer Harden and then play Hoover through this game. Where are the wideouts at? Okay. 7K for McAllister. Nobody's going to play this. So I can guarantee you everybody in the college fantasy stuff that I've been following is kind of like, well, I'm dropping McAllister. Well, they haven't been in a competitive game yet. So I believe in McAllister. I think this is a Josh Cameron situation where buy low. I think he comes in. He's going to be tagged as the GPP play of the week right here. Guarantee it. Caleb Douglas last week was tagged. Yes, he only had 1 catch. Yes, he did catch a touchdown, and it was 60 yards, and they didn't really need him. So at least that paid out to some extent. I think McAllister is a good GPP option this week. Dwyer would be a good double stack partner here at 56. He's a good play, no doubt about it. He's played well in both games. I think Dwyer's 100% in play. And then last guy on the TCU side, where is he? Where's my guy? Joseph Manjack. He's too cheap. So you can play Manjack, no doubt about it. They haven't played a competitive game. Manjack, 5, he hit 100 yards last week on 5 targets. He had a decent amount of targets. He had a decent amount of targets against UNC. They just didn't need it. So I think Manjack at 3K is the natural top punt option right now. I don't think I would really go to DJ Rogers. He played pretty good in that first game, but there's a lot more upside from the 3 wide receivers. But to me, it would be Manjack, McAllister, and Dwyer as the top 3. And then there's a clear top 3 that has developed for Kevin Jennings. Romello Brinson, clear top option. I do not mind him at all. I think this price tag is very cheap as well. So RJ Maryland, I don't mind, but I probably prefer Jalen Cooper. Cooper's played great in all 3 games, 3,700, great price tag. So clearly DK is going to let us pay up for these wide receivers or quarterbacks. So something I'm working on is how to say, hey, I want to play X. He's very expensive. Let's just fit him in and jam him in. Why not? So there's plenty of value in this game. This game's going to go over. I think you can game stack that game. I think you can game stack this game. I think you can play these 2 games and make one lineup with literally these 2 games with the Hoover doubles, Harden, and 2 Harden and 1 wide receiver from SMU. You can get Taylor Green with Sutton Smith and whatever, Omega Blake, right? And then you can just do these 2 games, and it's a very viable play, no doubt about it. All right, Utah, Texas Tech, one of the best games of this week coming up. Texas Tech, it's 56.5 over under, 30 Utah, 26.5 for Texas Tech. I think this is going to be one hell of a game. 8,700 for Dampier. I get it, but I don't know that I want to play it. I prefer Taylor Green. He's got very good rushing upside. The passing production's been there, but he has played 3 cupcakes, essentially. I think this Texas Tech defense is far better than anything he's faced so far. And realistically, he's priced up a little bit more than I would like. I'll probably get there for the upside, but the floor is going to be very low. Bayron, he's behind me right there. Bayron's been on fire. This is the best Bayron Morton's ever looked. He hadn't played anybody, but 4 touchdowns, just absolutely torching teams. He looks unbelievably good. 7,600, reasonable price tag, tough place to play. He probably comes in behind Talon and behind Hoover, and then it's kind of a 50-50 whether you need the salary or not. Wayshawn Parker was the unquestioned top back heading into the year, in my opinion, but he's been very good. It's just Utah and Kyle Whittingham love to do weird stuff. So Nakari Rogers is getting a ton of work too. He's taking away. I would never pay $6,300 for Nakari Rogers. Wayshawn is probably overpriced for the role. Jacoby Williams is underpriced at $5,800. He was slightly overpriced for me last week. He did deliver. Utah, notably, very tough against the run. So I don't know that you're going to want to get here a lot. But I don't think you could write off Jacoby Williams at this price tag. Dickey, no shot. I'm playing Dickey at 65. He just is not explosive enough. I think you're going to see one of these like sub 4 yards of carry games, and he's going to have to find the end zone multiple times, and that's just not a possibility in this matchup. I would lean Williams. He's a good pass catcher, explosive player. Caleb Douglas at 58, very reasonable price tag. Don't hate that. Coy Eakin, 55, also very reasonable price tag. I think he's in place. Got a touchdown in all 3 games. Could very well do it again. And Virgil had a tough week last week, but I think we could see that kind of coming given he was so touchdown reliant. The price tag was just so good. Even now at 4,500, I'm willing to take more shots. He got targets. He's fine. Ryan Davis is looking like the top option in this offense. Don't mind him at 46. If I'm pairing Dampier, you don't need to pair Dampier because, well, he's just absolutely an animal. Terrence Carter looks really good. I mean, he had a really nice game last week. He was a heavy part of this game plan. I don't love taking tight ends because they tend to not be explosive weapons, but Carter looks good. And if you're in that 3,600 range, I think he's probably going to end up being in play. I think all of the Texas Tech weapons need to be in play every week, no matter who they're playing. Hunter Andrews, I've seen some people talking this kid up. He looks, wow, okay. Okay. 3,200. I saw some people giving some hype here. This might be an underrated big-time play here. So he looks to be the short area target. I need to look more into this. But if he's going to give me 11 touches with or 8 to 12 touches and half of them being carries and half of them being catches, I like this at 3,200. This has legs. This Hunter Andrews thing has legs. He's been working out of the backfield, but he's also a dynamic catcher. Okay. All right. Well, that has legs. So I had heard some people talking about him, but I hadn't quite kind of dove in yet. I'm out on Dallin Bentley. He's 2 touchdown reliant. All right. Syracuse taking on Clemson. Where are we going to do with the Clemson Tigers? Where are they going to be priced at? They got a 36.5 point team total, 55.5 on an over-under for this game, 19 projected points for Syracuse. Cade Klubnik's too expensive. No shot in hell I'm playing Cade Klubnik. He's too expensive at 9,700. We just touched on Josh Hoover. I'd play him. Taylon Green. I'd play him. Dampier. I'll play him. Bayron. I'll play him. So I just don't think I'm going to end up on Klubnik. If you want to say he's a GPP play, sure, but I'm not there. And Jelly, no shot in hell after the way he struggled with some much worse teams than Clemson. Now, granted, I understand Clemson's playing terrible, but no, thank you. Adam Randall, 7,100. That seems a bit pricey, but not unreasonable. I think he's one of those back end of the player pool. Maybe you take some shots to get different. This is going to be big. Is Yassine Willis playing? I don't think I could play him at 59, given the other guys that I've seen. He just absolutely torched me against UConn, killed my dreams and my hopes of winning a tournament. But, you know, what are you going to do? If he's out, Will Nixon, clear top option in this offense. And Will Nixon's been taking away some of the pass game work. He was hurting my soul in that UConn game, taking the pass game work. So maybe it ends up being a situation where you want to go to Will Nixon at 3,500 anyway, given the game script in this game. The moment I have been waiting for, my favorite player. What is Bryant Wesco's price? 6,700 is more palatable than I even expected. I'm open to it. You know, you look into this, that's 4x here, that's 5x here. I think he's in play. I think he's 100% in play. If he was anything in the 6'2" or less, he's probably 500 more than must play, which means that he's priced appropriately. I think 7K would have been more appropriately, or flipping him with Antonio Williams. He's in play. I'm out on TJ Moore to an extent. Gill showed signs of life after being awful week one. He's really come back into his own the last 2 weeks. Is he a guy you want to rely on? Maybe. What did Jonte Cook do last week? Because he was really good week one, and he's kind of struggled. I think we're back to the Gill show here. What did Ross Simmons do? Nothing. So, yeah, it was a Daryl Gill show. Valeri's been playing pretty decent. Pretty consistent option for 3,900, but we saw some better options down there. Wesco in play firmly. Love the kid. One of the best players in the country at wide receiver. Not Jeremiah Smith, but he's very good. Maryland, Wisconsin. What a lovely game this is. 43.5 game total. 25.5 for Wisconsin. 18 for the Terps. These two teams, it's probably a battle for who gets their final win of the season. I know it's going to be week 4, but one of them is, Wisconsin's schedule after this is just absolutely brutal. Maryland, not great either. Billy Edwards' revenge game. Will he even suit up for it? Who knows? I don't know that it matters. Danny O'Neal stinks, so I'm not playing him at 6,300. Malik Washington at 69, maybe. I think that's just such a floor play. I don't love that. 69 is probably a little pricey for me, given the relative comparison to Taylor Green, Hoover, Bayron, and those guys. Dylan Jones just isn't getting the feature work. Maybe this is the week that he pops off at 62, but that is a little hefty. By comparison, Nolan Ray should be the top option, but he's not been the top option. I might prefer playing DeJuan Williams. He's getting enough work that at 3,400, if he finds the end zone, he can pay you out. Nolan Ray's just been terrible. Maybe you can get to Dylan Jones. I don't know. I just don't really trust him. But yeah, I would say out of this situation, given the pricing, DeJuan Williams probably my favorite in this game. If I was going to play one, Jaleel Farouk's kind of been a disappointment to me. I expected more out of him. He's kind of been a possession guy. Maybe you go there. Maybe he finds the end zone. Maybe he breaks one off. Kekahuna, no shot. I'm playing at 4,400. Fleming just absolutely toasted. Can't go there. Octavian Smith, no thank you. Vinny Anthony, I don't mind at 3,800. He has upside. He's probably the best wide receiver. I'm not going to hold anything against anybody playing that Bama game. I do not mind Vinny Anthony and taking shots there. Knott's played well that one game. Yeah, he has a touchdown in all 3. Maybe that continues at 34. Ballard's been pretty decent there. Mason had a decent game last week, huh? No, it was 2 weeks ago. He had 7 for 102. That's such a hard one to try to buy into. Yeah. All right. Anyway, moving on. Tulane, Ole Miss. This is where our pricing. This is the price that I saw earlier this week that stands out. Reports are Austin Simmons is going to start. I don't believe it for a second. He was moving so poorly. If he starts, I don't think he finishes this game. 0.0% chance that I play Austin Simmons in this spot. He could not move last week. Could not move. I think Chambliss ends up playing, or at worst, has packages in this game. 60.5 is the total over under in this game. 37 for Ole Miss, 24 for Tulane. I think that game's probably closer than that. I think they priced this right. If Simmons starts, it's a full avoid. If Chambliss starts, I think it's still an avoid because I don't know what the upside is necessarily. Tulane's going to try to slow the game down. Retzlaff has been a revelation, and he has played great the last 2 weeks. Or the last 3 weeks, really. He's rushed the ball very well. 47 points last week because he had 4 rushing touchdowns. That's ridiculous. He could put up a Taylor Green number this week. 7,100, not terrible. I just don't know that the rushing production will be there. I don't love Retzlaff, but maybe at 7,100, you got to take a shot or two here, especially with them playing from behind. Kewan Lacey should have a decent game. 7,700 is fair pricing. It's up there, but it's fair given his role, especially if Simmons starts. He's not going to be able to run. It's going to be all Lacey rushing the football. He did have a little bit of looked like he got hit on the funny bone last week and then kind of came back. I was a little worried about him. Maurice Turner, he's missed 2 straight games. Once he's back, he is the starter. I don't particularly trust any of these other guys. If he was out again, Mobley is the more of the starter, but realistically, they're just turning to Retzlaff and letting him run. All right, biggest misprice on the slate. It's not close. It is not close. Well, I get a couple in here. So Omari Hayes is going to operate as the one in this offense. He missed week 2. You want to play him? I love it. Like, go right ahead. He's going to get you double-digit points. He's going to hit 3x easy. 3,200 is a small price to pay for him. Shaz Preston, overhyped prospect, no shot. Dejon Stribling, 0 chance. How the hell is Harrison Wallace 4,100? He's 5x this. He has a 7x game, basically, a 5x game, and a 4x game. This is a 7K wideout, priced at 4,100. He had 10 targets last week. Let's see. He had 7 targets the week before, and he had 8 targets the week before that. I know I'm not a Harrison Wallace fan, but in the context of this situation, Lane Kiffin apparently is, and he's playing a lot better. So I will play the hell out of him at 4,100, and I don't know how you fade him. I really don't. 4,100 is too cheap. Caden Lee, I'm hoping becomes a thing eventually, but outside of that 62-yard catch, he hadn't done squat this year. Daquan Wright could always be a thing, but I mean, how do you just avoid Harrison Wallace? You just play the hell out of him. That's such a bad price mistake on their part. So we'll take advantage of it. Play the hell out of Harrison Wallace. Because if you're ever going to trust an offense, it's Lane Kiffin to be able to throw the football. And they need to beat Tulane. Tulane can make a big statement this week. But 37-point team total, 4,100 for your leading wide receiver on a passing offense under Lane Kiffin. I'll take it all day. That's just free value. Auburn, Oklahoma, great 2:30 game. 48.5 over under. I think this game goes over. 27.5 Oklahoma, 21 Auburn. John Mateer priced up to 9K. I think that's very reasonable. I will be playing plenty of John Mateer at 9K. He should be 9K. 30 points is roughly his floor. They lack a run game, so it's going to fall on Mateer to be able to run the football and move the football down the field. Now, could he struggle with Auburn? Maybe. But I think Jackson Arnold has a good game here too. Jackson Arnold revenge tour, and this is the revenge game. Kid can run the football, man. I think he's a good passer if he's in the right system. Struggled a little bit throwing it against South Al, but he makes up for it with 50 and 2. At 7,500, he's got 25 point. I think he's about a 20 to 25 point guy. So 3X is kind of in the bag. I don't mind the 7,500. I think this is a fun game to project a shootout into. I think Jaden Ott, no thank you. Jeremiah Cobb, he's priced up a little bit more. Maybe if you wanted to take shots there. Blaylock now priced up at 42. I think Blaylock's worth shots. He played well against Temple. It is Temple, but he's played pretty decent in the other games. He was the leading rusher against Oklahoma or against Michigan. Probably prefer him as the best option in that backfield. Maybe you take shots, but I prefer some other options in that range potentially. I mean, maybe it's just that range, but are you going to get to that range? Maybe, maybe not. Jeremiah Cobb's played pretty well the first 3 games. You could maybe take shots there. I think I would leave him in my pool, but how comfortable am I facing off with an Oklahoma run defense that outside of that 75-yard Justice Haynes run has really been stingy? I don't really know that I'd want to get there from an upside standpoint. And if Damari Alston's back, you're in even worse shape. Wide receivers. Deion Burks, not a bad price tag. He's the very clear alpha in this room. I don't mind Burks at 7K. It's hard to pair him up with Mateer given the salary, but there is plenty of value if you wanted to get there. I just don't know that I would want to get there. Coleman hadn't quite had a big one yet. 7 for 77 is in the realm. I think this could be the Coleman breakout game. 6,400. He could be tagged as a GPP play. That's kind of what it's looking like right there. Singleton's been a little binged up over the start of the season. He's more of the possession guy in this offense. Don't mind him. 4,500, reasonable price tag there. Canick's been kind of coming on lately. He's the tight end. I actually kind of like this price on him at 3,400. I will keep him in the pool over Keontez Lewis at 4,700. Sategna, he's been coming on as well. He had a very good game last week, kind of took away from Burks. That might be a situation where I'd rather get to, if I'm stacking Mateer, I'd rather stack him with Sategna or Canick over Burks so I could kind of load up with Cam Coleman as a bring back. Maybe that's the way I would play that right now. Quarterbacks. Why is this game even on the slate? Like, I don't want this game to be. This game's so terrible. Oh, okay. They played North Carolina A&M. No, A&T. Like, okay. Here's the deal. This game's 48.5 over under. 28 projection for UCF. 21 for UNC. 0.0. I want to play a UCF quarterback, not at 8K. No, thank you. Like, I'm out. I'm out. I hope Cam Fancher comes back because it's going to be one of the worst games of the year to watch. Gio Lopez at 67. I could sell myself on that if I had to. I prefer him being a little bit lower, though. He's not low enough for me to really want to get there. Miles Montgomery is way too expensive at 82. I know he's the starter, but 82 is a lot to pay for this. Yeah, I don't love that. I don't really. Demon. Jeez. Love that. All name team. Jaden Nixon. Meh. I mean, look at that. He had 4 carries for 156 and 2 touchdowns. That's not the level of efficiency I'm looking for. I just hate this game. This game sucks. Maybe you could sell me on Ship. Maybe. I mean, he looked good against TCU. And then he obviously had an efficient game against Richmond, but it's Richmond. There might as well be a D3 school at this point. Don't like Richmond. No, I just don't love this game. This whole game environment just sucks. Scott Frost sucks. Bill Belichick in college sucks. Like, I want scoring in my college games, and Bill doesn't like that. He's curmudgeon-y. I'd love to sit down with Bill Belichick, have a conversation though, because his analysis of just like a actual punt block team is awesome. You imagine a round table. So, like, let's just say we all die. Like, me, Bill Belichick, and Mike Leach. That's my dream table, just to sit down, talk to Mike Leach and Bill Belichick at once. Be hilarious. I just want to sit there and listen to them have a conversation. All right, Michigan, Nebraska, 44.5. Over under. Project the Bussin' Bowl. Projecting to be a low scoring affair. 23 for Michigan, 21.5 for Nebraska. Bryce Underwood unlocked some rushing upside last week, but it was Central Michigan. So, black shirts, 7,400. No, thank you. Not touching that. I'm just full of void on Bryce Underwood at 7,400. No, thank you. I'm probably out on Baby Mahomes at this price too. Maybe if I was punting, but I don't know that I want to get there. I mean, the game environment's so terrible that you're going to have a hard time wanting to get there, and there's a lot better game environments and a lot better value plays to get me value. Haynes at 75, and nobody's going to play him. He's probably in play, but I don't know that I want to play them. I'm out on the rest of their backfield. Haynes is going to be the showstopper here. Same thing. Emmett Johnson, 74. He's at least going to be involved in the pass game, which raises his floor. They're guys that are going to be in the pool, but not priority plays. That's what I would say. Dane Key, clear top option in this offense, more of a big play threat. Don't hate the price tag at 53. Barney at 48. Kind of hate the price tag. He's going to have to get there on volume and not explosiveness. I don't like Samaj Morgan. I understand why people might get there, but I don't like him. I would definitely prefer to get the McCulley if I was going to. He's definitely the best wideout in this offense. If you were going there at 33, I don't think you need to. There's plenty of value everywhere else. Same thing like Neziah Hunter. I'd much rather just pay for Dane King if I'm going to, or Dane Key at 53. But I get it. If you're down here, maybe you take a shot and you have to. But, I mean, there's plenty of other guys to play with here. Purdue, the Boilermakers taking on Notre Dame on that tall grass and that slow surface. 52.5 over under. 40-point projection for Notre Dame. They seem to score a lot of points. Defense doesn't really stop anybody. 13 projection for Purdue. Honestly, I'd probably take the over on 13 on that team total for Purdue. Ryan Brown's going to be able to get them some points. He'll run it a little bit. He's thrown it pretty well. He threw it for 300 against USC. I can't guarantee you that Notre Dame's defense is better than USC's defense. So I'd imagine I would take them on the over on the point total. What'd they score last week? 17. So, yeah, I'd say 17 is more in the realm. 14 to 17. 14 to 20. I think 13 is too low on team total. CJ Carr, that's way too expensive at 8,800. No, thank you. I'd rather play Ryan Brown than CJ Carr in this spot at the price. Jeremiah Love at 9K. Woof. What are they going to do with him? Are they going to just run him in these very important games? I mean, they didn't in the first one. They did in the second one. I'm guessing he gets more work here against Purdue. But Jadarian Price just limits his upside so much, And then Aeneas Williams, too, limits his upside. I doubt I'd play Maccabee. He struggled last week, even against USC. I think they're similar defenses, so I doubt I want to play Maccabee in this situation. Out on the Purdue running backs, I would only want to play Purdue through the pass game. Notre Dame, that's too expensive for Price for my money. I understand if you'd want to get some love, but that's probably too expensive on him as well, to be fair. Eli Raridan, no thank you. Malachi Fields, no thank you. They're probably a little too expensive for my money. I think you got to, you know what? I think my puke stack of the week's going to end up being Purdue. I haven't seen the Duke NC State, and that's going to be a shootout because NC State has no defense, and Duke's been struggling on defense as well. I don't mind Michael Jackson. Yeah, I think you could play Michael Jackson at 3,900 with Ryan Brown. I think you could play Nitro Tuggle with Ryan Brown, all name team Nitro. I think you could play him. I would prefer Jackson personally. But yeah, I would say I wouldn't play Branch. He's too touchdown dependent. Targets are limited. I would play Jackson with Branch. I think I'm going to have some puke stacks of that. I don't know that I necessarily even need a bring back. I think Purdue just scoring at will with random pieces can get me there. NC State Duke, underrated shootout game of the week. 59.5 over under. This thing's going to get a green tag for me. 31 projected on Duke, 28.5 NC State. Both teams are going to be fun to pick on. I think NC State's turning into the fantasy carnival that UVA was a couple years ago. CJ Bailey playing absolutely out of his mind right now, running the football. He's pretty consistent in multiple touchdowns. He throws for 200-ish yards a week. He runs the ball a little bit. He's got some upside. I think 7,800, reasonable price tag, especially when you're coming off of that Retzlaff game where he ran for 4 scores against Duke. Mensa struggled last week, but still threw for 300. I think he throws for, he was 4,900 last week. He was a free square. 4,900, he ended up dropping 27, and it was an ugly 27, let me tell you. I think he throws for 300 again because NC State can't stop anything. I think he throws for multiple touchdowns. Worst case scenario, you're getting 22. So he's going to be right around 3x to maybe 4x. I have no issues playing either of these guys or playing both and getting them in the same team and playing this thing to shoot out. Hollywood Smothers, fair price tag for what his role is. He plays almost every down. He gets a ton of work. The number one concern here is he's been getting pulled in the red zone. They've been more relying on the other backs in the red zone and CJ Bailey's legs there. That would be a concern for me because his upside could get limited unless he breaks off runs. They did it against Wake. He did get more of the touchdown area stuff, the red zone stuff against UVA. I still like Smothers. I think 8,600, he's in the pool. Is he a core play? No, but he's definitely in the pool. I'm still avoiding the Duke running back situation. I don't want to touch it. Nate Shepard did get a good amount of work last week. It seemed like his name was popping up and he was playing pretty well, but I'm out on this backfield. And then Jaden Scott's been the one kind of getting that red zone work. So yeah. But I think Smothers is a great play either way. But I don't think I can core tag him given his price tag. Quayshawn Brown popped up last week, had a good game in week 1. He just kind of struggled against Illinois. Not my favorite option at 5,400. I get it if you want to go there. I still want to go to Barcate. Barcate, 5 for 67 last week. Missed multiple opportunities by inches for a much bigger game in this one. I will roll me a ton of Barcate. He's still my top stack partner for Darian Mensah. Now, a lot of people liked Hagen's coming in the year. He's just not doing it. Anthony's really taken off lately. Did he catch another touchdown last week? Nope, he struggled. You see, this is why I don't like Anthony, and I much prefer Barkate. Anthony's production's all tied to touchdowns and not volume. Barkate's is all tied to volume and not touchdowns. You give me Barkate at 4,600. I think he gets there. He's going to eventually hit on some touchdowns and have that blow up week. He's the number one option. I have no problems playing him with or without Mensa. Now, the NC State side, much more difficult to predict. Justin Jolie is all touchdown tied, and I do not like him at 4K. He's too tied to the touchdown game. Noah Rogers, far too inconsistent of a weapon. Don't know how to feel there. Wesley Grimes, who knows? I mean, he had that great week 1 and then nothing afterward. Anderson, he'll pop in here and there. They spread the ball around so freaking much at their wide receiver spots with Teddy Hoffman getting targeted here and there. I think you don't play – if you're playing CJ Bailey, just play him naked. Hope he runs for 2 touchdowns. Hope he maybe spreads the ball around and a couple guys get 2 touchdowns. I would rather play Bailey with Barkate as a bring back or Bailey with Hollywood Smothers even than I would play Bailey with any of his wide receivers. It's just too much of a risk.